Hello and welcome to this tutorial. Today we'll be looking at Weaponiser. Not only is Weaponiser the ultimate weapon sound design solution, but it can also be used as a great layering tool. Whether that might be to create impacts, textures, ambiences, or just about any combination of sounds. It's also great for creating UI, so in this video we'll be looking at this futuristic UI animation. All of the sounds that are used are either synthesized using Weaponiser's FM and AM synthesis features, or with samples from our Weaponiser libraries that come with the software. So let's take a look at the sound for this. So as you can see in the video, the UI looks very sleek and futuristic, so I wanted the sound to be smooth and digital. So what I'm going to do is break down each individual section for you here. As you can see, I've used MIDI notes to trigger each of the different engines here in Weaponiser. So from C5 to E5, we'll trigger each of these engines, with C5 being the overall fire, and each subsequent one going through the onset, body, thump and tail. So the first one that we have triggering here is the thump synth. So the thump synth is great for this pitch envelope and amplitude envelope, which I can sync with the very start of the animation as it boots up. And as well as this, I can set the duration so that it happens over the exact time of the animation. As well as this, we have this electric razor buzz hum, and I've reduced the speed so it runs for the exact same length of the video. And as well as this, it's got this modulation buzzing sounds that sync up with the UI changing direction and shifting round. As well as this, I've added this flanger chorus to get the depth and rate set to just something not too much on terms of the rate, but it allows it just to feel like it's modulating a little bit more and it seems a little bit more futuristic. So we'll just solo this then out and I'll show you the thump on its own. So the last component of the thump is this synth bleep, which I've pitched down to fit tonally with the rest of this engine. And that is the middle section here that doesn't come until a little bit later. So what I can do with Weaponiser is actually keep the level at nothing and increase it up to the full volume when that syncs up with the UI coming in. So I'll show you that again with it just soloed. So as you can see, that syncs up perfectly with the UI central bit, and just allows you to have way more control over each individual bank inside the whole Weaponiser UI. So the next section I'm going to go and show you is the body, as that is the next one to trigger here. So the body synth I am using to generate bleeping sounds for these numbers all down this side. So I've used the bleep rhythm sound effect from our library, and I've pitched one up and one down, and this makes it seem a bit more chaotic and the different timings overlapping with each of these differently. So this one's going faster and this one's a bit slower, so they sync up quite nicely with that. As well as that, I'm triggering it multiple times to keep it all going and sounding a bit more random. But it looks rhythmic on here, but with the timings that you can set inside each of the samples here in the bank, it allows it to overlap in a bit more strange and syncopated way. As well as this, I've added to the level, you can see there's a grey area. This is modulating the level, so the volumes are never ever the same as they come out when you are triggering them here, so it gives it a little bit more of a dynamic feel. So let's have a quick listen to that on its own. So you'll have probably noticed that all of the sound for that was coming out of the right ear, and that is because I am panning it to the right there to represent the positioning on the screen, which you can do for that. So I'll continue on with these effects in a second, because the synth parameter is also exactly the same. for the onset. So I've used the synth bleeps here and pitched the speed up and set the area, but I've panned this left to represent the points on the screen that are coming on this side. So in order to make them actually seem like they've got their own tonality and each bit's doing its own different thing, because this has got numbers and letters, whereas this is all just numbers, and it's got a screen of data that kind of goes through, I have created this ring mods that are different sounding for the depth rate there, and the depth and rate there on the body is a different setting as well. So that just gives it a little bit more of a, this is like a more high pitched beeping, whereas this is a lower kind of bloopy sound. And as well as this, I've got a flanger on both of them, and I wanted this to be much more smoother, so it's got a lower rate and a higher depth, and the flanger on this side has a lower depth and a higher rate, so it seems a bit more chaotic on this right hand side. So let's have a listen to this on its own. So as you can see, like those numbers feel like they're pulsing, and the timings matched with the MIDI notes seem to fit that quite nicely. So now with the two of them together, you'll be able to hear that there's this difference in tonality and the pacing of each. And therefore that creates a nicer texture where each has its own tone, but it gels with the whole visuals of this UI building up. So lastly, we will look at the tail. So for the tail, what I've done is use a music sample. It's a synth analog bass note. It just plays one singular note, but I wanted there to be a rising tone, as we have this percentage down the bottom left hand side as it charges up the way. So what I have done is attached the speed dials here to automation in Reaper, and the reason I've used two of these is because they are different harmonics and they harmonize with each other as they go up in pitch across the length of the charging up section down here. So in order to make it seem more like it fits with the booting up sound, I have attached a flanger chorus here and put a little bit of depth and rate on it, and it just actually makes it feel more like it's pulsing and getting into the start of its workings rather than it being fully charged up. Let's have a quick listen to this on its own. Just start from that bit. So as you can hear, the samples have this nice buzz at the beginning and end, which makes it feel like it's going through stages, like it's crackling as it begins to boot up. So let's have one last look at the full sound design here. We hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. For more on Weaponiser or our other products, visit krotosaudio.com. Thanks for watching.